Hello, friends. Welcome back. And it turns out there is going to be a new Gem Challenge summon that is going to be put into effect starting right at midnight tonight. It's a couple hours before right now, but I got the news, and I figured I would try to make a recording so that when this change is over, if people are curious, they could already access the information and at least my opinion on whether or not this particular 30 Gem Challenge pull will be worth it. So let's start at the beginning and say this is going to be the Astral Portal Challenge pull. So in that, we are going to have both Astral Elves and Astral Dwarves. Obviously, the Dwarves being the newer characters are going to fundamentally be better. So you have a 50-50 chance to get a Dwarf or an Elf out of this portal. We'll take a moment to go into each one. I normally do a long-form video where I review each one individually. This time, I'm going to do an overview shot. So the video will be a little bit faster, but I'll explain why. And real quick, I guess now is as good time as any to get into that. When we talk about whether or not this portal is going to be worth it, we have to discuss the fact that there are going to be 30 required polls for this. The portals that they have available to us right now are not particularly exciting. Now, granted, they are going to put a pickup summon out tomorrow for the Wildcats, which is going to feature Rajesh and Leone, the first two Wildcats that were released. So if you were interested in those, maybe that could be a little intriguing. But honestly, Rajesh turned out to be not as exciting as anyone was hoping he would be. So I don't know if that really moves the needle for me. The challenge event that's out right now is also somewhat lacking in the fact that they really only released one new character in there. So yes, I do think that's probably the best portal to choose from. Currently, I still don't know if it's that exciting, if that makes sense. I don't know. Not super exciting for the portals to choose from. So that already, I think, plays against this in a certain way. The next thing that I will warn you of is that I honestly think they intentionally are releasing this challenge the day before they release this brand new Halloween event that will be coming on Wednesday. So their goal may be to help clear out a lot of the gems that people have saved up so that when this new event comes into play, you're going to have to either save up and hopefully get some by the end of it or just buy more gems, right? And I think that's their goal. They just want you to have to buy more gems. So they're putting an intriguing gem challenge right before it. Now, if they had waited just one more day to do this, you could have pulled from this new Halloween event, and that would have been a different story. I think then we could be talking about the value of this being a lot higher. But they didn't. And I think that was intentional. So I think that plays against the idea of this being worthwhile. But let's get into the characters and talk about whether the characters they at least selected were intriguing in that nature. So we'll start things out. We'll go bottom to top just because discussing the best values first isn't always the greatest way to go. So we'll talk about what I think is worst all the way up to best. So the worst possible option in here is going to be Moonflower, our good friend right there. Moonflower is an absolute travesty of a hero, and if you were to pull him out of here, you definitely hit the low end of the totem pole. I'm not even going to bother going over him. He's not great. Then next up on here, I would say, is probably going to be Starwalker. He was at one time a very good character, but the truth is the way that the stats have fallen off, his hit's just not going to matter that much anymore. And unfortunately, it's a low enough percentage hit that it really doesn't make that significant a difference anymore. Sparklight would then be after that. Sparklight at least hits harder with a 500% hit. So even though the stats are falling off, you're getting some reasonable damage out of him. So at least there's that. Then Demiloon is a very interesting character, not only because the damage is okay, but steals buffs from the targets that he hits, and he hits target and nearby. So I do like the idea of stealing buffs as an additional caveat to the damage done. So Demiloon is very interesting. But then probably still the top choice in the Elves department is Lemonwood. He is still a very good mana control character and can do some reasonable damage. With his stats falling off, he's not exactly killing it, but I would consider double limit breaking him still. If I pulled him today, he'd probably at least make me pause and question whether he's worth the double limit break. I do think he has that level of viability within him. So top elf, in my opinion, is going to be Lemonwood. Bottom of the rung is going to be Moonflower, of course. Now, into the Astral Dwarves. This is worth noting. Astral Dwarves are an absolutely phenomenal family. I can't talk about how good they are in comparison to some of the other characters within this game. With that being said, if you pull any of these Astral Dwarfs, it is a win. But the question is the buy-in of 30 pulls too high for this? Because there's only a 50% chance you get one of these characters. Let's get into what we have. Let's just see what we got. So in the Astral Dwarves area, I'd say probably the lowest value would be, I think her name's Salinus there. She's going to be the yellow shotgun wielding dwarf, but she's still pretty good. She's going to hit a target and then another random target. And that random target, I think she leaves a debuff where they take additional damage as well. Really good Titan hero too because of that though. So like just notably, like I said, none of these Astral Dwarves are bad, but I think all in all, she might have the least amount of value compared to what else is out there. But a close runner up on that list will be Quarry as well. Quarry was the very first Astral Dwarf released. The reason I like Quarry a little bit better is that he's a hit 3 that does a nice water damage dot, and then that dot will also transfer some of its damage into healing for your team. Anytime you get a damage healer combo, I put them a little bit higher up on the value rung because it just makes them that much more viable when it comes to the overall shift of how the board turned out. The more of a difference you have in your health totals versus theirs, the better off you are. So anyone that does damage and healing, great combination. After that, I'm going to go ahead and go into our purple dwarf friend here. He is a strong hitter. He is a hit 3, but he does it at fast and he does it pretty strong. He also does a damage increase buff, but it's much lower. I think it's at like 25, maybe 15 or 25%. I apologize for not having the card in front of me, but regardless, like he's still good. He's just not necessarily as impactful as the other dwarfs we are about to get into. Then we will go to Maywin, I believe is her name. She is a phenomenal healer, probably one of the very best healers in the game. She does everything the way you want her to. She's going to do a heal. She's going to do a damage reduction. She's going to also put protection up against debuffs to my knowledge. And then she also has a passive that's going to help her remove fiends when she casts her special. Now, that's absolutely massive because of the vegetables that are out right now. So removing the fiends is just one more way to ensure that she stays alive to heal the rest of your team to remove their fiends as well. Just a great overall character, probably one of the better healers in the game currently. And finally, the biggest value in this portal is going to be Saris. And everyone is pretty aware of what Saris does. He's an absolute monster, right? There is some random effect involved in him because he needs to target a target with a certain amount of mana. He's going to hit for 600% damage. And then like if they have over whatever the mana amount is, I think it's like 50 or 60%, he will then target another target and repeat the process. With the same hit, doesn't reduce the damage, which is crazy. Then it's also going to silence anyone that it hits for like 4 turns. So we're talking about a massive hit. It's going to possibly chain and do more silences. He is devastating to get hit by. Oh, and I forgot to mention, he does do Wither too, right? And the Wither is on both attack and defense, which of course is permanent unless you have a way to remove the Wither. So like he's really, really difficult to deal with. And I think they added him very much on purpose because he's probably one of the most sought after dwarves. And I think they believe that people will do this pull simply because there is a 10% chance to get Saris. And that being said, that's probably the best odds you'll get at pulling an individual character in the entire game is that 10% chance. So that alone may get big spenders to just throw down on this portal if they don't have Saris already. And I think that's the concept and the thought process, right? So just a reminder, the Astral Dwarves, another nice benefit to them is the fact that they do have the 75% chance to resist mana reductions by themselves, 100% assuming that there are 2 of them. So they're great in the mana meta that's going on right now as well. So yeah, listen, I'm not going to argue. Astral Dwarves, absolutely amazing. You definitely want to consider them. But is it worth the 30 gems right before a brand new Halloween event and the portal selection being subpar? I don't think so. Like, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, they're great characters, but is the investment worth it? My personal opinion, my thought process is no. And I won't be participating in this, so I won't be able to do a video for what I pulled this time around. I am just more interested in being prepared for this Halloween event and going after some of these new vampire characters. I do like the idea of a guaranteed pull, but at an cost of at least 9,000 gems to participate in this one, it's just a little too rich for my blood. So that's it, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I wish you all the best of luck. If you do decide to go ahead and do this challenge, I would love to see what you got pulled. So like you can throw it like a screenshot or a comment or something like that in there and just let me know what you got so we could share in that excitement together like I normally try to share and let you all know what I get as well. It would be fun. And if you do like what I do, remember you can hit that little icon at the bottom right of the video. That will subscribe you to my channel. Easier to find me later. All right. Have a great night, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.